Hello and welcome to another live Q&A, another podcast. We are live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and we are live on LinkedIn. I've got Janina Ruth with me today. How are you, Janina?
I'm fine, thanks, Johnny. How are you doing?
Very good. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Where are you from originally? From Germany originally?
Yeah, from Germany, from the Black Forest.
Wow.
That's where I'm from originally, from small village.
But you're currently in Madrid?
Yeah, I am currently in Madrid. I'm spending a month or 2 or 3, who knows? I'm spending some time here.
And we're going to be talking about search engine optimization today, very focused on content, on keywords, content strategies. That's your key area. In fact, you're very much a wordy person, previously a journalist. You like poetry, and you can speak far too many languages from my point of view, because I can only speak English. So I'm very pleased and that you can speak English, but just tell everyone some of the languages that you speak and that you're learning as well.
Well, actually, I'm only really fluent in English, German, and Spanish. Spanish is like my second native language. Although when I'm in Germany a long time, I start forgetting. So it happens to me with German as well when I'm in Spain a long time. So this are things that happen, and I use English all the time, so I don't forget it. But I'm also not quite a native speaker in English. And then I'm learning some languages at the moment. I've taken a couple of weeks of a break because I'm in Madrid and I'm seeing my friends, and then the discipline just gets a bit relaxed and you don't do your exercises often. But I do study Portuguese, which is probably the one I'm most advanced with, and I do study Dutch and French, which I learned in school, but I just never really got around to it. It helps when I have 2 glasses of wine and I suddenly can speak French and I don't even know how. When I'm with a French person, of course. And I also learn Arabic, which I already studied in university, but I can basically say, hello, my name is Janina, and that's it. I could say I'm a translator. When I was working as a translator, I do know that word. Yeah.
Wow.
I can read it and write it. It's quite nice to write.
It's a serious number of languages. And in your work, how many languages are you typically writing for? Is it just mainly the 1 or 2?
It is mainly German at the moment, which is due to my clients, because most of them are German, and the German market is a really good market to do SEO at the moment. There is so much demand, and there is not much competition. So this is why I mostly work in German at the moment. I also work a lot in Spanish. I do love working in Spanish, and I also working in English. I've just finished a project, a really small website where I was working in German and English. And I've also worked in Dutch, which was the reason that I started learning Dutch, which is a bit of a funny story. I was working at this agency when I just started out doing SEO, and they had several freelancers and employees from other countries, and they were doing international projects, but they had no one from the Netherlands. And suddenly they got this project which had Dutch as well, and they had all of the other languages covered. So they were asking me, Janina, do you think you could do the Dutch part? It's probably similar to German. And I said, yeah, I can try, but I can't really guarantee you that anything good will come out of it, that it's going to be correct, or that there are going to be no mistakes. So I was working, I think, with 5 or 6 tools. I had the keyword tools, of course, and I was using the DeepL translator, which is a really good translation tool. It's probably the best translation tool. It does make mistakes, but it's way better than Google Translate. It is really good. So you can use DeepL and then work with the text afterwards, and then you get a good result. So I used DeepL. Then I used Language Tool, the Dutch version, to check for grammar and spelling. And I did use some dictionaries as well, and of course the SEO title and meta tag tools as well to see the right length. So this was a bit of a strange experience working in Dutch, and that's when I started. When I said, yeah, I can't write a language from which I don't know anything about. I need to know a bit of the grammar, and I need to know some rules. And the words were, of course, really similar to German. So then I started learning Dutch, and God, it is complicated.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
English is bad enough. So when it comes to keywords and content, I think we actually have a similar outlook on keywords, because you've got some SEOs that focus on sort of a small number, very focused, very high traffic keywords, whereas I think both of us have a different view, which is sort of appear for everything. If you want to appear for, you know, a really difficult keyword, then you're going to have to naturally appear for lots of other keywords that are to do with that keyword. You've got I think you've got an Excel template that works really well with e-commerce.
Yeah, this is not from me; it's from a later Solgus, but it is great. Yeah, it does work very well.
And just explain what that enables you to do as a copywriter, but also as a website owner, to consider all the different keywords, I guess. So give me an example on a product page, some of the generic keywords that we would be needing to think about.
Yeah, you always had the template is basically you always have to have, for example, on an e-commerce, there's always going to be buy product online. So product, you can say headphones or microphones or a computer, buy a computer online. So those are the keywords. So you've got this template, buy product online, and then you just substitute product for whatever your product is, for example.
And going further on that product page, give me some other examples. You've got buy product online. What other some other variables that are in that sheet that you'd typically be changing for? You
could, for example, look also for some characteristics. So you could have color. So you can have buy a color product online. So you have buy blue headphones online, buy red headphones online, or you've got other adjectives like good headphones or high quality or noise cancelling or whatever. So you can choose all of these different words and come up with a great range of keywords for your product. Or you have buy then the brand name and the product. So you've got buy Bose headphones online, or you just have you get rid of the online and you've just got buy Bose headphones. Or you can also get rid of the buy part and you just say buy Bose headphones online.
And if you were replacing the word buy, I think you've got some other variables for that as well.
Well, you can, for example, choose about any action if you want to. For maybe not the headphones, but a bike is a nice example here. So with a bike, you can do many things. You can buy it, you can repair it, you can sell it, you can try to find it, you can rent it, and so on. So you've got all of these verbs and of these actions that you can do with your keyword.
So if you come up with so many different variables, because we're talking hundreds, if not thousands, aren't we? And especially if you've got a large e-commerce site, it could go into tens of thousands, I guess.
I just had a small e-commerce and it had 6,000 URLs. We were relaunching it.
Right.
So,
wow.
So
how do you go about applying all of these keywords without it being too spammy and without it making sure that it still reads well? And what's your approach to deciding which variables to go for, or how to use all of these variables?
Well, it's probably mostly with these e-commerce sites about transmitting to your client how to do it. So you've got to transmit. It's not necessary to know them all because you've got so many different products and the stock will change constantly. So as a freelance SEO, you can't be on top of all of those changes. It's just really practically impossible. You can do that if you're a big agency and you've got 5 people working on the project, and then of course you can optimize every single project. If not, it's basically about telling the client what people are looking for, so they know their they know their product. So you tell them the structure. Buy blue headphones online, or with clothes, it's, for example, they search for the size, so clothes or shoes. So buy large clothes online or buy large shirts online or whatever. So then you tell your client how to do this. And for example, especially with fashion, you'll have loads of similar products and loads of similar product pages. So with a fashion website, it's not so much about having the keywords, but about having the differences, because you'll have the same t-shirt in different sizes and in different colors, and you have a different URL for all of them. That's how you go about 6,000 URLs with a small e-commerce site. So you need to teach your client how to create those URLs so that they write that you don't have blue URL ending in blue shirt and then /1 or #1 or whatever, like these automated solutions. But you just tell them, write in your URL blue shirt by S. Oliver, size 34, whatever. So you have all of the specifications and details. And when you're working on a huge website, it's more about having really the structure in mind, because I think it's practically going to be impossible. And then you've got some small pages you focus on. So your client might tell you, those products, this and this and this one, they're really important for me. So okay, then I'll look for keywords for these products because they're really important for the client at this moment, and I'll write the meta tags and I'll implement them on the website. Or there'll of course be priority pages like home page, like the category pages. They're usually in an e-commerce website, the category pages will be way more important for SEO and for content than the product page itself. So you can try to go about and automate a lot of the product page SEO, or try to transmit it to your client, which is probably the toughest challenge, like to get the collaboration and to transmit your knowledge so that they can implement it.
So if you take a category page, really important page, and you're looking to enhance the keywords on there, and you've got this, a list of variables, again, what would you do if, there are a lot of keywords that are quite similar? How would you tackle that? Would it be a case of, writing loads of content for the page so that you can get as many of those keywords in? Or do you just select some of the ones that have got the highest search volumes? Or what's your process to decide on, for example, a category page when you've got lots of variables?
So I don't like to put loads of different keywords on a page. I don't think that's a good approach. This is just my personal opinion, because I've seen agencies working with, say, 3 keywords, and they all need to be different. And my approach is this has to do with a message, because you've got a key message, and the key message has to fit search intent. So I like to group the keywords. I like to classify them and categorize them. So I've got my category, and usually in one category, the keywords, they will all have the same meaning and probably also the same semantics. So even if there's a synonym, they might not be in the same keyword group. It depends a bit. If I have 30, 40 keywords, I'll not tackle synonyms in the same group. And if I've just got 3 or 4, of course, then I'll use more different keywords. But if you think about it, you can't, even if you make your text longer and if you use the other keywords, you can't make your URL longer just to stuff more keywords in, and you can't make your title longer. And if you make your H1 heading longer, then you're also a pain in the ass for your clients. So basically, you need one keyword for it to be clear to the search engine and to your clients what you're talking about. And in order to choose them, so I try to have them all looking the same way. So, for example, with the blue bikes, buy blue bikes online, or blue bike buy online, or blue bike online, and then there might be a blue bike and there might be a blue bike buy online on the same page, because they're the same keyword. If I write buy a blue bike online, the blue bike is already in that, so I can use them in this way. But yeah, I always try to have one group, and then I have very similar keywords sometimes, and this can be a challenge to say what is the best keyword for this. For example, I was just working with a client on horse on horse illnesses. So we had the cough, a horse which is coughing, and we had the respiratory illnesses for horses. So how do I choose this? Because they're really similar and they're both matching the content. So I've just written it down when you were asking me the question earlier, and I think I've got like a 3-step program, which the highest priority is search intent. So which one of the keywords does match the search intent in the best way possible? So do we have a specific keyword which is really appropriate for that page and for that product or for whatever we're trying to sell, or we can even sell an idea. So this is also for a blog post. And then if I have several keywords that match the search intent and there's no keywords that's better than others, next thing I look at is keyword difficulty. So of course I'll want to choose keywords which are easy, where there's not a lot of competition, and the advantage of doing this is not only that it's easier to rank higher, but also that you're going to be the first or one of the first websites ranking high for these pages, for these keywords, sorry. And this means when your competition comes a year later or 2 years later, you'll already be there and you'll already have gained ground and you'll probably stay there. So that's why I like to choose keywords with a low keyword difficulty, which is amazing in Germany because there's so many keywords with a low keyword difficulty.
Really?
Yeah. It also happens in Spanish. It's also quite good. I think in English I'm so glad I'm not doing a lot of keyword research in English, because it must be hard because everybody is doing SEO in the United States and in England and in Australia. So there's probably a lot of competition, but in German, it's really, really, really easy. And then, the last thing I'd look at is search volume. And the only rule I've got there is...
Just before you go into that, just take me back to the first. So the keyword difficulty, very simple. You have using one of your keyword tools. I think you use Mangles. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, the Mangles tool.
And that will tell you a percentage that's the keyword difficulty. In terms of search intent, you said that was your first thing. Is that just based on instinct, or is it based on some kind of figure, or how do you measure search intent?
Yeah, that's just instinct. That's just knowing the content. What I like to say is that SEO, I was working as a translator as well for a short time. I think I didn't tell you that. And so what I like about SEO, and I like to compare it to translation, because even though I'm just working just in German or just in Spanish, what I do is I translate my client's language, which is usually very specific and specialized. I translate this to the user's language, which is usually very simple. And there's also a third part I'm translating for, which is the algorithm, the crawler, the robot. So I'm like the middle point between 3 different sorts of people, and I need to intuitively find out what users might want when they type in a certain thing, a certain keyword, a certain search, and how that matches my client's web page. And yes, this is really a lot of instinct, and it's also a lot of talking to the client, because when I have my keywords, I send them to my clients, and then they say, oh no, this is not really good for this page, because they're of course the experts in their field. So they can tell me if this is a fitting keyword, or if there's some contextual or informational problem, and if we need to choose another keyword. Or they can say, maybe you can look for this and this keyword, because maybe people are searching this way, and then I can double check this. So it's a bit of a common effort. Yeah.
Okay, so we use instinct to look at search intent. We look at keyword difficulty, and then you look at search volume.
Yeah.
And tell me more about search volume. I assume that's just, the higher the volume, the more chance you'll use the keyword.
No, actually, my only rule is to not use any keywords with 0 search intent, with 0 search volume, because search volume. There's so much search in here. So no, I just don't use anything which has got zero monthly searches, because that's just, I don't know if people are looking for it. They might not. In some very specific cases, if it might be necessary, then I'll do that. But if I've got a page where I would only have keywords with 0 monthly searches, then what I think is a cleverer and more time-friendly strategy is just to write what's on the page into the title, and Google will figure it out itself. And the users will figure it out themselves, because I think that's the most user-friendly way. So that's basically my only rule. I prefer to have keyword allocated to a page with 10 monthly searches and an exact search intent matching this page. And, for example, with the online shop to buy online, I prefer to have someone looking to buy something online directly on my website, and then they'll convert more likely, and they'll actually buy something, and my client will make money, or they'll be happy. So I prefer this than having hundreds of people looking at headphones, and then they don't like my headphones and they leave the website without buying it. So I think, like you said before, that's way better and a lot more clever. So if I've got 2 keyword groups or 3 keyword groups, and search intent is the same, and keyword difficulty is similar, and I really don't know what to choose, then of course I'll look at search volume, and then I'll say the higher the better. But It's really not that important.
We've got Siam on LinkedIn, who's agreeing with a lot of the things that you're saying, saying back-end support to automate would be amazing, and search intent, lots of research is needed there, because that really, he's backing up what you're saying. Just to remind everyone, we are live. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. This will be a podcast, so brilliant if you're listening right now. Thanks for listening. If you are watching it live and you've got a question for either of us, for myself or for Janina, please do use the chat and ask a question. I wanted to ask you, Janina, there's a lot of people that say it's no longer about keywords. SEO is no longer about keywords. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, there's always a lot of chatter in the industry, and there's always a new trend and something new you have to do. And I don't know, just to manage my own resources, I try not to get too much into those trends. So with what you're saying about the keywords, I'd say yes and no. Of course, it's not as in 2002 when you were writing meta keywords and you got your meta keywords and you were appearing for that, or when you had your keywords in the background, white keywords on white background. Brilliant. And no one was
whilst you were telling me about Germany, I was thinking maybe that technique would still work.
I think Google's smarter than that now.
Okay, so we won't do that then. But carry
No, you really shouldn't. But of course it's not that anymore. But what I'm asking myself, if people say keywords are not important, if you don't know what people are searching for, if you don't know the keywords, how will you know what people are searching for? How will you know what search intent is? And how will you be able to have a sort of dialogue with the users? If I'm the translator between the user and my client, how will I know the user side? I mean, I can do like what I did when I was a journalist and take a microphone and go outside and interview everybody. Like, how would you search for so-and-so? But sometimes I do it if it's a really complicated topic. For example, I was working on a car topic, and the client gave me keywords in English, and I was really wasn't sure about the technical terms in German, and it was so hard to find them because there were also almost no technical dictionaries, or they were only partial. So in this case, I would go and ask some German mechanic friends, how would you search for this? Sometimes I do it, but you've got these keyword tools, and they're amazing because that's how you know what people are actually looking for. And when you're not sure with the keyword, what I do, for example, for search intent, I like to do the search myself on Google, and then I see the Google results, and then I don't know if people are searching for that actually, but I do know how Google interprets the search intent, which is important. So I think keywords are still important, and I think keywords are actually underestimated, because when I was studying journalism, and after that I was doing a master in social studies, was international relationships, Europe and the Mediterranean. It was a bit strange. It was very interesting, though. It has to do with the Arabic part. So I was doing a lot of social research, and especially on the demography and on migration. One problem you encounter is that you don't have enough data. For example, if you want, in the Arab world, if you want to know about contraceptive measures women are using for family planning, you won't get any data. Even if you interview those people, they'll probably not be honest with you for cultural reasons. So this is a huge problem for social studies. So that now you've got keywords, and you can just look how many people are looking for a certain contraceptive measure on their phone, and you can look at this and you've got more data. And of course, this is not scientific data, and it's not peer reviewed, and it's not, you don't know how many people are actually looking for it, or if it's the same person looking 20 times. You don't know these small things that are really important in science, but it's amazing because you can use this to get really interesting social insights. And actually, I was doing a little experiment last year, which I haven't finished yet. It's one of, like, I start projects and then I leave them because I don't have any time, or because something better comes up. And so when the pandemic started, I thought, I got all these anecdotes of people telling me that they had weird flus in December of 2019, or in January 2020, or February, like before COVID was really taken seriously. So I thought, maybe I can use search data to check if there was a health crisis, and maybe this might be a way for Google or for search engines to work with health organizations and to have like a early warning system or something. Like I said, I didn't finish it. It's a shame. Maybe I should. Well, anyway, what I found was, yes, like I was looking on Google Trends, and I was looking on my tool, on the Mongoose tool, and the Mongoose tool has also got a trends function. So I could see, I was looking for things like the flu. I wouldn't look for COVID-19 because everybody was looking for COVID-19. It was in the news. But I thought, if I was having a weird illness in January of 2020, what would I look for? So I'd look for the flu symptoms, or I'd look for aspirin because I want to feel better, or paracetamol, or ibuprofen. And I did this for the UK and for Spain and for Germany. And you could actually see that compared to the 5 years earlier, there were more searches, especially in Spain. It was really noticeable in Spain. In the UK, I think it wasn't so much. And or it was later, it was only in February, and Germany was like in the middle. And it was also interesting because I think in the UK people would look more for H1N1 symptoms, and in Germany it was more like the people looking for the cold symptoms. So this says a lot. Keywords are not dead. You can do so many things with keywords. You just have to be creative.
Yeah. Absolutely, and you could even if we look at voice search, it's still reliant on keywords, on words that are being used, and phrases and questions. I think you've hit on a point there around Google. Google could be doing so much more, especially from a giving back to the community point of view in terms of the data it's got. There's so much. Google knows so much, and it could really make some big differences if it worked closer with authorities and health organizations. And I agree, and it's just not enough. And there's and
Google is very efficient, like if Google had managed this pandemic, we'd be so much better off.
So true. But a good example is when you're searching for symptoms, or maybe you've just been given some bad news from the doctor and you go and start Googling something. At that point, Google could start bringing information, saying, actually, we know your friends, and actually there's a couple of friends that might be good to talk to about this, or we've got we could put you in this area where people are where there's a group of people that you can discuss with, instead of just going straight in with the facts and understanding the intent, instead of just going straight for, yeah, this is the prognosis, and this is the, with all the bad news.
Yeah, and it's also like we were talking about creating and implementing the content earlier. So I'm doing quite a lot of medical projects or health projects. I don't know, it's just but it's also been in my life for a long time. I did study pharmacy for half a year.
Did you?
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah, I did actually do my A-levels in biology. And so my biology course was a lot of medicine, and I was studying with a medicine book, like from the university, from my older sister's friends who were studying to be doctors. So I had their books, and yeah, so there is an interest, and I've got quite a lot of clients from that sector, from the health sector. So and Google likes you to have scientific data and scientific sources, and Google likes you to be an expert and to show your expertise, etc., and to have good factual content. But what you have to think about when you write this content is you're writing it for a person who is looking for a solution. Like, they're not Googling it for something, but they're Googling it because they have a problem and they want to have a solution for this problem. So you have to be emphatic about that. You have to understand them, and you have to maybe not worry them so much, or especially like if you're a doctor and you're offering some treatment, and you're talking about the side effects, like how can you do this in a way of not scaring the patient away? So this is so hard, so many things you have to talk about, and you've got to be quite sensitive, and also use an easy to understand language, so people, while still being accurate, but your user has to understand you. So this is, it's not only Google, it's also the websites. And I think you're right, there's so much to explore in all of these fields.
Yeah. Well, another topic I wanted to just discuss was around blog content. So how important is blog content nowadays? How do you create engaging content? And do you think people still read blogs, or are they more interested in this sort of form of content, video content, podcast content? Just wondered what your thoughts on that as a content writer are.
As a content writer, of course, I'll always love text, but that's just me. This is really hard for me to tell, because I'm a bit of a weird person compared to others, and I'm not really much about the internet around and about. I'm just, I don't know, I just do the things I like. So I do, oftentimes I do prefer written content, especially when working, so I listen to podcasts when I'm cooking or when I'm cleaning my apartment, and I like to watch video content. But video content is actually quite hard, because you need to be so focused, and you can't just pick out the information that you want. So I think this is a advantage that written content has. You can work with headings, with bold keywords, and with visual elements, so you can orient your user, and then the user can pick out just what they like. And to me, this happens when I work and when I do a lot of research, and I do read a lot of content myself. And of course, sometimes you get like 2,000, 3,000 word articles, especially when you're researching SEO topics, because everybody is implementing all the SEO recommendations. So your content needs to get longer and longer and longer, or if not, you won't be able to rank, because all your competition that are also SEOs are going to rank for that one. So you're reading a lot of 2,000, 3,000 word articles, and of course I don't want to read the whole article. It's often I just have a very specific question. For example, last week I was looking for formatting, how to implement product information on a page, which was implemented on my client's website as a table, and Google can't read tables. So I needed to find another format. So I was looking if there was like a predetermined format for displaying it on the page. I'm not talking about schema here, but for the displaying on the page. So nobody has written anything about that. I've been reading 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 word articles, and of course I was just scanning them through, because I just wanted this very specific information, and there were all those nice articles telling me how to write a great content for your product page, and it's like, yeah, I already know all of that. So yeah, the written content has that advantage. You can just find the information you're looking for really quickly. So I think it's about different uses. People were still reading books when there was a television, so
I agree. I mean, if you look at book sales, they're still very high, and in terms of, you've made a really good point in terms of being able to pick out content very quickly and easily. So with audio content and with video content, it is a lot more difficult to get to the nugget of information that you're wanting, or the section that you're wanting. Whereas when you're looking at a white paper, a blog, a long form content, and it's got really good headings, subheadings, bullet points, you've made a very, very good point there, Janina, and I fully agree that I personally think there's a huge amount of people that still really find that very useful and helpful. So yeah, okay, long live the content.
Yeah, and there's another advantage we haven't talked about. We've only been talking about the user, but there's another thing you should think about, which is the robot crawling your website can only read the text. So
yes,
if you
so that's so that's around. If you are going to be doing video or podcast, it's about transcribing it and giving that text so that Google can read it. Although we should say that Google's getting a lot better. And for example, right now, LinkedIn, this is live on LinkedIn right now, and LinkedIn is providing subtitles as we're talking. So the AI and the machines are getting so much better at all of this. But handing content on a plate to the likes of Google is always going to be that step up. So cool. Final tips on keywords. You've got, so there's the mangles.com is a keyword tool that you really like. There was and we'll put that in the chat, mangolls.com. You also very clearly were saying there's 3 metrics that you pick. It's the search intent first, then the keyword difficulty, and then the search volume. If you've got a site, you're wanting it to rank better, where would you where would you start? Where would you, if you could give a tip to a website manager wanting to increase their search engine optimization, what would be a couple of things that you'd suggest?
Well, first of all, if you're talking about keywords only, well, start with your homepage. Start with the first page on your website, and look for keywords, and then just see your own prioritization and go through with it. So you've got, your website, you've got your most important content, you can go through with this. But what's the most important thing is just having it in order, having a clear structure, a clear hierarchy, and just being really focused on the details. So if you're working on your website and you've got order in it, do it. Just go through with it in every single detail on every single page. Look at your URLs, have them pretty, have them structured. Everybody is saying now that URL structure is not important anymore and URL length is not important anymore. I agree about length, but about structure, it's not. It was, but before it was necessary. I'd say it's not necessary anymore, but it helps a lot. If you've got your site architecture and you've got your folders and you've got your URLs in the same structure, it does help a lot. Google just likes it. It's like, oh, you're making things easy for me. Thank you a lot. Yeah. And then you get better rankings. Yeah.
And really good point about the homepage, because it's so often that people don't consider the words. They turn around and they say, well, I want to be high. You turn around, you say to them, what do you want to be at the top of Google for? And they list 3, 4, 5 different keywords, and you look on their homepage and half of them aren't there.
Yeah.
And it's like
that happens so often. Like the small project I was telling you about, this was for a freelancer and he's offering some services. So he had the typical website where it's a homepage, then it's the references about me, and contact. I think it was something like this. So he said, I'm offering those and those and those services, and I want to improve my search engine visibility. And I was like, yeah, you don't have any content on your services on your website. So it was free services. We were looking if there were searches. The search intent did actually not match 100% because it was highly specialized. So we had some keywords where we were thinking people are probably looking for a free solution here, and he's actually a professional. So we wrote that in the title that is a professional, or we wrote for business or something, just to like imagine the keywords. But we needed to find the keywords for the pages, and then just to create the content and create the pages and implement them. So if you've got clients, and it happens a lot, that don't rank for keywords that they want to rank for, and they don't have any content, then you create the content, and that's your strategy if those keywords are so important to them.
Definitely.
Or you look if they're really important, which also they just might be wrong about that.
Janina, I've really enjoyed our conversation. If people are watching and maybe they've got a website, maybe they would like you to do some keyword research and to write some content for them, where would they find you? What's the best place to find you online, Janina?
I'll just type my name into Google and see what comes out.
Well, you're certainly on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn. Actually, LinkedIn is quite a good channel.
Yeah.
I get a lot of clients through LinkedIn. I'm in Germany. I'm on Xing, which is the German LinkedIn, and I've got my website, which is in German. So it's only in German at the moment. I'm really sorry for that. Yeah. So if you're looking for me in English or in Spanish.
But if you speak German, what's the name of the German website?
Yeah, I'll paste it. Wait a minute.
Okay, cool. Because
it's quite long.
We'll also put all of this in the show notes, so don't you worry. I've really enjoyed chatting, and it's been great to have finally done a podcast on search engine optimization, because I do these podcasts around many different topics and sort of inspiring business owners, everything to do with business, but focusing on marketing. But my background's SEO. I love SEO, and it's been really good just talking about keywords and content today. So thank you so much, Janina.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you all soon. Thanks again, Janina. Take care. See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. There we go.